friends, this past week at Hip Kit Club, we had been scraplifting our fellow design team members. I am going to use this beautiful page by Anke Kramer to create my page today using the February Hip Kits. Now, another part of my assignment was to focus on one of the products, and I decided that I would focus on our beautiful new dies, or the beautiful new dies that came out in February. There are these gorgeous circles of both the hoop and floral and then the string, wreath, and bow that I thought I might use to replace the circles in Anke's layout, but you'll see here in a minute that I switched gears and I actually decided to use the nested hearts dies and create some layered hearts in place of the circles. Now, before I get to my designing, I'm going to select one of the pattern papers to use as a background, and I love the way that my photos popped off of this dark blue navy pattern paper that has a tonal embroidery flower pattern on it. This paper is called A Stitch in Time, and I thought that tonal pattern would be a good replacement for the texture or the modeling paste that Anke did with the star stencil on her inspiration layout. So yeah, she had some texture paste placed through a stencil and creating a tonal star pattern on her white cardstock, but instead of that, I'm going to use this navy paper in place of that. All right, so now that I'm ready to start designing, I'm going to start making some nested hearts. I love the colors of blue. Blue is one of my favorite colors to scrapbook with, so I decided to pick out all the shades of blue from this collection, as well as purple and some hints of pink in these layered paper hearts. So I've selected several papers. I used the purple floral, which is called the Can't Get Enough paper. There's a small floral that's kind of a pink floral with multicolors, and then on the other side is a light blue large dot pattern. I actually used both of the sides of that pattern paper, which is called Hugs Are Free. Then there's a plaid paper that has a white background. That one is called Oh So Pretty. And then I used two of the solid essential cardstocks. I used the pink, which is called Petal, and then the blue, which is called Wave. I also used the lilac as a mat around my finished layout, so we'll add that here in a minute. Now, after I had got all of my layered hearts here together, laid out on my page, I decided to take a picture with my cell phone, so in case I bumped the paper or in case something happened, I had a quick picture to refer back to. Now, before I head on over to my sewing machine, I'm going to take some liquid glue and just lightly tack all of these hearts together. I'm not tacking them to the layout because I might switch something up, but I am tacking them together so that I can just run them through my sewing machine and then adhere them to the page. So on the larger layered hearts, I did a zigzag stitch through the center, and then the smaller single hearts, I just did a straight stitch, and I really love the way this is coming together. It's super, super cute. Now that I have all the hearts there, I'm going to mat my photos, and I've decided to mat them with the other side of the plaid paper, which is this beautiful black and white floral. It's a great neutral, and I think it looks great with the photos. It calls a lot of attention to them and helps them to pop out against the background of all those layered hearts. So now that I have those layered, I'm going to trim around all four edges of this navy cardstock so that I can mat it on the lilac cardstock. At first I wasn't sure if I was going to mat my entire layout. I kind of do that. I always think that I'm going to leave it just the background paper, but almost always I add a border around the paper. It just makes it feel nice and framed and finished out. Now, of course, you've probably seen this before, but we're going to go ahead and gut the center out of that lilac cardstock. When I have limited colors like this, I like to do that. It's not something you can do with a rotary trimmer. You usually need a blade trimmer where you can set down the blade in the center of your paper and then cut out the opening in the center. Actually, a rotary trimmer might work depending on the style of it, but you definitely can't do that technique with a guillotine trimmer. So I think that's one of the reasons it's worth to have a blade trimmer around, is so that you can gut out the center of a paper and use it for another project. All right, so now my basic design is in place and I'm ready to start looking at the embellishments to see what I can add in. I first go to the main kit and I'm going to take a look through the cardstock die cuts. I find that purple tag and I thought that would be a good tag to use as a journaling spot, so I placed that in the lower right hand corner. And then I found the love this label that I'm going to add to the top of the second photo, almost like a tab. I looked through the phrases to see if there were any journaling options. Or title options. A lot of the phrases in this kit are centered around love because it's February, but that doesn't really apply to this page. So I went on from that and I headed on over to the embellishment kit to see what else I might want to add to this layout. So I took a look through the cardstock die cuts that are all the labels and tags and tabs, and I found that purple label that will work better size-wise for my journaling, so I replaced the purple tag with that purple label. And then I found the exact same one in a mint color that I tucked under the photo to use as an anchoring spot for my title that I'll eventually add there with the puffy alphabet stickers. While I'm looking through the embellishment kit, I'm going to take a look through the vellum die cuts. There's a set of vellum die cuts in the main kit, but there's also a set of different die cuts made out of vellum in the embellishment kit. And this particular kit has lots of doilies and butterflies and flowers and all kinds of fun things. So I pull out the doilies and I'm going to use everything I can find in like the shades of blue and purple. So I find 2 doilies there. There's a third one in a light blue color, but the size of it is quite large. And so I try it out in a few areas, but I just can't seem to make it work. So I'm going to save that for another project. I also pull in the leaf stems. I really love adding leaves or flowers to pages because it just adds a sense of life into the project. So I'm going to tuck a few under the hearts in a couple of places just to bring that foliage in. And I'm just using my spatula to pry up the hearts where the adhesive is set so that I can tuck those elements in. So I really love how this is looking. I tried the leaves out in a few different areas, just seeing which ones were the right size for the different spots, but I just settled on the leaf branches the first way I had them. I also really love those cute little starburst vellum pieces. Those seem to fill in the empty spaces between the hearts really well. And I like how that looks so much that I'm going to head on over to the chipboard flower stickers in the embellishment kit to bring in some more tiny elements. So I select all of the tiny chipboard flowers in blue and purple and lilac, and I'm just spreading those around the page again to fill in the spaces and make it feel nice and complete and connected. I'll also take my spatula again and pry up the middle layer of that heart on the bottom to tuck the journal spot under, and that will make it feel like it's connected to the design and not just floating out in space. Now that I have all those bits in place, they do have some really great adhesive on the back, but I'm going to come back through and just tack them down with some liquid adhesive because lots of them are overlapping the edges of a die cut, and sometimes if you can't get a nice flat surface on those pieces, they peel up over time. So that's the only reason I'm doing that, is to just ensure that they don't fall off over time. Okay, so now I'm headed back over to the main kit to use the puffy alphabet stickers, and I love these stickers. I love the font, I love the offset black outline on this font, and I especially love the coral color. It just seems to pop out against, all the colors of this kit, and it's just the perfect size as well. I will also put those labels in place at the top of the photo, and these photos are pretty fun. Like, my daughter was headed back to her second year of college, and I took a quick snapshot of her in the yard before she left. But then a few days later, on her first day of school, she sent me this selfie, which I love. I just think it's so funny that after all the years of doing those first day of school photos, our college kids are still snapping them and sending them to us so that we can scrapbook them. So I paired those together here on this page, and I love that memory. I found that blue bird die cut in the main kit as well, and he looks so cute perched on top of the title, and I like the way that he's looking in towards the pictures as well. Now, if you're looking for a really cute date stamp, the January Pocket Life kit has this adorable set of date numbers. There's actually 2 sets of stamps in that kit. There's a 4x6 stamp for the January Pocket Life, but there's also this smaller date stamp, and I love it because it has that nice worn typewriter feel that just looks timeless. And so I'm going to add the date. Now there's all the numbers of the month for all the days of the months on that set. There's the month names, and then there's several different years. I didn't have the year 2017, obviously, because 2017 is over, but I simply just took the number 20 and the number 17 and paired them together to get the correct year. So they're super versatile and will last you a long time. Now I needed a little something to anchor my photos and tie them in together. They are overlapping, but I decided to grab the branding strip from the lilac cardstock, and I just cut a strip of that and just tucked that again under the bottom edges of those two photos. Okay, so this is the scariest part of a layout for me. I was actually not going to add any ink splatters because I am just not a huge mixed media person. I'll do stenciling, I'll do some ink splatters, but it always gives me hives because I've spent all this time creating this layout, especially all those stitched hearts and those die cut hearts. But I just kept thinking it needs some splatters, it needs some splatters. So I decided to brave it and just go ahead and water down some white acrylic paint and just splatter it on there. It's always nerve-wracking for me because I don't know if I'm going to ruin the layout or add to the layout. Thankfully this time it turned out. So I did a few visual triangle of the splatters, and now I'm just adding some really light splatters over the top of all of the hearts, and I like that. It turned out great, and whew, I can breathe a sigh of relief, right? All right, guys, this is the February 2023 Hip Kits, the most beautiful pattern papers. Also, be sure to check out all of the dies, the add-on kits, fantastic kits. You're gonna love them. And come hang out with us over on the Facebook group. You don't have to be a member to hang out there, and it's a really inspiring place to be. So I hope to see you there. All right, guys, have a great week. We'll see you again soon.